Shalom, shalom, it's following Yahshua. Welcome again to the Rock. Questions. This question was, following Yahshua, what do I do? It's from a sister, but I'm going to answer this in the prospects of brothers and sisters. What do I do if things get really bad in my area? Should I basically shelter in place or get out? And that's a very good question. And my answer to that question would be, is if your plan is to get out, you may want to start executing that plan as much as possible right now. You know, that verse, the one that you've heard me say for the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, for those of you who remember my channel in Arizona. The prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself. The foolish one passes on and is punished. I'm not saying things are going to guaranteed get bad, but even if in certain cities or regional, things are going to get bad. And if you cannot leave right now, you need to have an actionable plan in place. Not just your bug out bag or provisions in your vehicle, but also where are you going to go? Because let me tell you, going to, some random place in the woods or to a state park is not, in my honest opinion, a viable option. You need to have a place where you can go, where you already have provisions laid up, where you may have food stored up, protection in place, and the ability to produce food. You do not want to just wander off into the wilderness and have that, I'm going to be taken care of. Yes, the Most High Yah will provide, but just like he did with Joseph or Yosef, just like he did with Moshe, just like he did with Noah. Sorry, I did not mean to say Moshe. Noah and Yosef, just like he did with them, there was a time of preparing before the flood and before the famine hit. There was a time of preparedness. In both stories, Noah stored up food on the ark. And then Yosef stored up the grain in the storehouses. You must be making those steps and making them now. So if you don't have a place to go, my honest opinion would be to link up with somebody, fellowship with somebody, get to know somebody who may be away. Or if you know somebody already, have a plan in place to leave there, to get there. And not just, you're showing up there and expecting them to provide you provisions, but you should have invested in one way or another to their or on their homestead or property or land, so that you have a place. You don't want to just show up and say, a lot of people have that plan of, I'll show up and pitch a tent. Well, where I am, we get some pretty cold winters and some pretty gusty winds at times, and when it's you're in one of those Walmart tents, and it's 9 or 10 degrees, with a 15-mile-per-hour wind, you may not want to be outside, and you may not want to be in a tent. You're going to want to provide, be able to heat, Do you have water storage? These are things that you have to consider. Food, protection. You can't show up empty-handed. And I think that a lot of people have that idea when it comes to bugging out, that wherever they go, they're just going to kind of show up empty-handed with a tent, 3 days worth of food or 5 days worth of food or a week worth of food. And then what happens after that? Because it takes longer than a week to have provision it takes longer than a week for you to get the garden started. So that's something you're going to want to consider. Protection. Can you protect yourself? Can you even get to your location? If you're in the inner city, do you have a viable route? to get to where you need to go. And I know everybody has that super secret route that nobody ever takes, but let me tell you, that super secret route is not just your route. I can guarantee you there are probably thousands of other people that have that super secret route on their bug out exodus from wherever location it is. So what happens if your super secret route is gone? What happens if you, I know most people, you know, especially with the financial situation we have going on, don't even keep their car over 3/4 of a tank. Most people, they keep their car borderline. I was reading a study about it. Since the I almost said the word, since the zombie plague, a large majority of people are now keeping their tanks at a 1/4 tank. Can you travel from where you are to where you need to get to on a 1/4 tank, considering roads could be packed, you may have to take alternative routes, yada, yada, yada. What happens if you don't have the ability to rely on your Google Maps? Do you have and are able to read a regular road map? I'm talking your road atlas map. Do you even have a map to read? Can you read it? Do you know what highways to take? Do you know how to locate yourself without the GPS marker pinpointing you on a map? That's an important skill to have. Maybe even a topographical map. That's a very important skill to have. Do you know which location your retreat or bug out location is? And in which case, do you have a compass? Can you read a compass? Can you read a compass according to a map? To a topographical map? These are all skills you should consider. And if whether or not you're bugging out, you should have these skills. You should be able to read a map. So you have protection, you have food, you have water. Yes, obviously medical equipment, you should have that. Tools, you should keep your car in regular good maintenance. Because as these things are going, you just don't know. One of the things I always keep in my bag is I always keep a 2 knee braces, 2 quality elastic knee braces, and 2 quality elastic ankle braces. And the reason why is because I've broken one of my ankles and I tore my meniscus in one of my knees playing college basketball. And I don't know if you've ever tried traveling. Let's say your car breaks down. Let's say you can't move your car and you are now forced to go on foot. Do you know what a sprained ankle looks like or how it can inhibit your ability to maneuver and progress in your route? How about you sprain your knee? These are things that you may want to consider. If you have a family, do you have, especially if you have children, smaller children, do you have a carrier to carry your child? Or do you, one of those backstrap carriers or those wraps that you can use to carry an infant child? Or do you have what I like to call off-road stroller, a stroller that you can take off the beaten path? And more importantly than all that, do you have knowledge, wisdom, understanding, a love for the Most High Yah, and do you keep His commandments? Because one of the things that I always look at is the Bible says, trust in Yah with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him and He will direct your path. Yah is directing paths right now for those that are truly relying on Him. I know many that are striving to lead, even many that are making communications and fellowshipping and making real, true friendships with other brothers and sisters so that if something were to happen, you could leave. If anything, I would implore you, if you are of this faith, if you are Israel, you don't want to rely on the heathen. You want to rely, and when I mean by heathen, I mean those that don't keep the commandments, not based on skin color. I'm talking about those that don't keep the commandments of Yah. So, my brother would be those that keep the commandments of Yah. Just wanted to make sure we put that out there. So, and have the testimony of Yahshua HaMashiach. And the Ruach HaKodesh, or the Holy Spirit. So, having that is the fundamental basis because He will lead you into what friendships and covenants and to make with others. But you have to have an actionable plan, especially as these times are getting worse. Whether you're a brother or you're a sister. For a sister, I may have to do a separate video on that one. But the plans are a lot different. Well, not a lot different, but I would say are greatly different. as far as a sister is concerned, because you being a sister just trying to traverse the roads, especially if you're walking, makes you a target in and of itself. So that's what I'm saying right now. If you have the opportunity to make the moves right now. Don't wait until the last minute. If you can get to your bug out location, hey, have a plan to get there. And if you can get there, and you see it feasible with the time that we have, then maybe the opportunity like, hey, maybe I should get there a little bit early and just see what happens and all this stuff. Maybe, if I don't have a job, maybe let me just get there. Maybe put some work on that location. With the zombie plague closing things down, I just read that the University of Florida football has canceled has postponed the rest of their season because 5 players came down with the zombie plague. It's only a matter of time before things start shutting down again, and food's going to become an issue. I have another video coming out on that. But you have to keep moving. You have to keep planning for what is coming, and always have in the forefront of your mind Yah's law and commandments. And if you have the wisdom of understanding Yah's book, he would have told you, you would have understood that you should have been preparing already for times like this. As a people, Yisrael were always prepared. We were always ready for when times came. And that was something that wasn't, we didn't call it being a prepper. We just called it being of this faith. Taking care of your family as a man. So make sure that if you do plan on bugging out, have a plan. Have an actionable plan. Maybe even rehearse the plan. You should have the things in your house that are important that you already know. Maybe have all your important papers in one bin so you can grab them if you need to. Have a box where you can just grab and throw it in your vehicle. Things like that. Where it's not going to take you 4 hours to get the stuff that you need, but you could literally get everything you need in your vehicle and be gone as fast as you possibly could. Hopefully less than 20-30 minutes. If you could just be gone and on the road to your location. All right, hopefully this is helpful. I bless you all. Hope you're having a blessed 4th day, I believe it is, or Wednesday. Hope this information is helpful. Bless y'all. Shalom.